Rich Eisen joining us on loan from the NFL Network and the Rich Eisen Show on DirecTV's Audience Network. First Super Bowl was when?
For the NFL Network?
Your life?
My life was the Ravens-Giants in Tampa. I went just as a civilian doing a few appearances while I was with the mothership with the worldwide leader. Yeah. So I was there in the stands for that. But our first one for the NFL Network was almost a rematch, New England and Carolina in Houston, Super Bowl 38. And we were 11 weeks old and had a set right there in Radio Row. We were the only ones to have a set in Radio Row. And we realized right away what being the NFL Network at a Super Bowl could mean and was meaning at the time. It really was awesome. It was a great week. We had a great fun time. The rest of the network was sent back to Los Angeles for Super Sunday, though. We didn't have a pregame show at the time.
No.
And I stayed and did a postgame show with Solomon Wilcots and 2 directors' chairs in the end zone and did our best to just muddle through it, caught a flight, went back onto NFL Network the next day, and then we realized what it meant to be an NFL Network in an off season for the first time. And it was fun. That was back in, 2004, the 03 season.
That's the first Super Bowl I brought my kids to. And that was the story I told on Fallon the other night was my oldest daughter was 12, I think. And so they got seats and they were watching the Super Bowl. And then I was working at the mothership, and after the Super Bowl, I said, "How was it?" And they were like, "It was a great finish there with Carolina and New England."
Yeah,
and they were like, "Oh, it was awesome." And I said to my daughter, "I said, did you take pictures?" Yeah, I did. I said, "Well, show me." And then it'd be like there'd be a guy, and then there'd be like another guy, and then another. I said, "Grace," she goes, "I just took pictures of drunk guys, Dad." She didn't take any pictures of the game.
Oh my gosh!
There's one picture of halftime, and there's like 4 or 5 guys, and one guy threw up. Like she knew their names.
Oh yeah, we Susie and I took our 2 oldest last year, and Xander and Cooper are our sons. And if you ask Xan what his favorite part of last year's Super Bowl was, he'll say Katy Perry.
Sure.
And I'm like, look, here's the deal. What we saw in the end of that game, we could go to 49 more Super Bowls, never see it again. But I mean, that's the whole spectacle. And interestingly enough, that Super Bowl in Houston. We were all excited at the NFL Network because we had our first ever commercial that was airing right after halftime. It was right after halftime, first NFL Network Super Bowl commercial. And if you remember it, it was all of the stars of the game singing Tomorrow from Annie, because the next day everybody starts 0-0. That tomorrow is another day. And like Bill Parcells and Jerry Jones were singing Tomorrow. And T.O. and Sapp did it. And I got my way into a suite so I could go sit in front of a television and see it. So I got into the suite and I'm getting set to watch the television. And all of a sudden I'm looking on the field and Justin Timberlake seems to reach for Janet Jackson. And I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? And I look down at my BlackBerry and it just starts blowing up with, did you see that? What was that? What was this? Never saw the commercial.
Well, I'm in the headquarters with the mothership. So we're all watching because then we have to go out on the SportsCenter set right after the game. Everybody, like it was like nuclear. It just went, oh my God, did you see that?
He's right. Yeah.
And I didnend then all of a sudden, the tape operator's going, rewinding it. So we go, wait, what? He just grabbed Janet Jackson.
Yeah, that happened. And then, interestingly enough, everyone wonders what the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history is. 2 years later, at a tailgate party, I believe it was in Jacksonville? 2 years later at the Super Bowl, I forget which one it was, standing back to back at the tailgate party at the Super Bowl in the VIP section was Paul Tagliabue and Justin Timberlake. And I'm like, how did he get in here based off of what happened 2 years before? Great. So doesn't matter what the scoreboard is. Greatest comeback in Super Bowl history was Justin Timberlake, who 2 years later was right standing there with the commissioner.
But Janet Jackson didn't have a great comeback.
That's true. Yeah. So we're still waiting on that. Kid Rock, I don't think it really affected him. But that was also the end of the Super Bowl halftime shows being farmed out to the networks that were covering the game. The networks that cover the game used to own the halftime. The NFL after that said, we are handling it. So when you see the halftime shows, it always is an NFL network, NFL media production now. NFL basically said, that'll wrap it up after all of that.
You look at
my first Super Bowl.
You look at these, halftimes. Sting is performing at the NBA All-Star Game.
Yeah.
Which I don't get. I mean, how out of touch are you with your demo? What?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah, Sting.
Sting?
Yeah.
Sting is 62.
Yeah.
Wait. Do you think any of those players are going to go, dude, man, I'm not missing halftime?
That's what they're coming out.
I mean, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young wasn't available here. Bob Seger? What are we doing with Sting?
I once went at an NHL All-Star game in Denver, and the guy who was performing in the intermission between the first and second was Thomas Dolby. And he came out and saying
science.
She blinded me with science. Was sang at an NHL All-Star game.
Nice.
I have personally witnessed that.
Now you have Coldplay.
Yeah.
Beyonce will, add obviously a little more gravitas to Coldplay.
It's not deep enough for you, Coldplay. Yeah.
No.
Look, you're not obviously a quartet of Brits is not what you would think of associated with the NFL.
Why isn't Taylor Swift performing this year?
I have no earthly idea. To me, it is a connection between, from what I'm told, how they choose who the halftime performers are. It is sort of a putting the minds together of the NFL and whoever is broadcasting the Super Bowl. So CBS definitely has a wish list. These are the people that we want. Then the NFL has a wish list. These are the people that we want. Then they go out and see if they want to actually do it. And who wants to go on tour, who's got an album coming out. I mean, the year that Springsteen did it, he had an album coming out. It's no surprise that Coldplay just this week announced a tour.
What about Adele? Or is she there's not enough theater attached to her?
As you know, there's more Super Bowls to come.
But I would think Taylor Swift would put on a Katy Perry-like show, even though they hate each other.
Well, that would be the best part
about it.
I like that,
yes.
Are you ready for some, some football, if you will? Yeah, I mean, but hey, look, it really is amazing to me that our largest sporting event that we can export is stopped in the middle for a concert. And not just any concert. I mean, being at it, seeing the way they put it together in like 8 minutes time, they put this monster stage together. It really is something to behold.
Well, I remember when the Stones did it, and to try to get them out, and they actually put them in, they were encased.
Yeah.
So they shoved them out, and then they came out of the stage.
Right.
And in a span of 8 minutes or something.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really is unbelievable. And, but I'm personally excited for Coldplay. I mean, I'm fired up for it. I'm actually excited about it. I don't know, a lot of football fans are like, I don't know about it, but personally I am.
I've seen them in concert.
They're great. Chris Martin is a
very talented,
true entertainer.
Okay.
For sure.
You had a prop bet.
Yeah.
That you are wondering if Jim Nantz or Phil Simms.
Yeah. Just Phil.
Okay.
Just Phil.
I'll take a break here.
Okay, sure, please.
Take a break. I want to come back. I want to ask you about Peyton Manning and how well he did last night and how well Cam Newton did. We're continuing with Rich Eisen from the Rich Eisen Show on Audience. That's the Audience Channel 239, also NFL Game Day morning. You have an 8.5-hour pregame show?
It started 5 minutes ago.
Oh, my God. It's death. Death. But I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
By the way, that was like a 3-second pause. That was legendary right there.
Coming up on 17 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. Rich Eisen with the NFL Network. Rich Eisen Show staying with us here.
Yes, sir.
What did I tease before we went to break there? Do you remember, Paulie?
Rich had a prop bet.
Oh yeah, prop bet for Phil Simms for Super Bowl 50.
Yeah, we did this on my show last week, and we brought the board here, not knowing that we were actually stumbling into what I guess is actually happening in circles that I'm not supposed to have anything to do with. But this one we came up with was under 0.5 is the if you will line. Number of times Phil Simms will say the words Gwyneth or Paltrow during the Super Bowl telecast, which is sort of like next level. They've got to bring up Coldplay and then things that would show that Phil reads Us magazine, where
will there be a shot of Coldplay
warming up
in the first half?
I don't think so. It's probably what it's going to be is some form of promo for what's coming up on the halftime show, and there will be video of Coldplay playing, which would need to lead to something. I brought it up with Nance himself yesterday, as you heard while you were next up on the show. You were in the green room. Nance thought it was a doubtful proposition. So you take the under is basically what you're saying on that?
I think the Danettes' initial reaction was to take the under, as if Phil Simms does not know who Gwyneth Paltrow is or that they're married. Or what's the concern?
Well, they're divorced now.
Right, but that's the thing. What if he thinks they're still married because he didn't get the update?
Now you're saying there's a chance.
Yes.
Is what you're saying. Now we're working our way to plausibility here. Yeah.
Yes, Eden.
Wouldn't it be great?
I feel like the divorce is a big step in the not going to say anything direction.
Yeah, because Phil never does that.
Right.
Is this thing on?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes,
Oh, boy.
Yes, it is.
No, look, we never know. I mean, people say things on the air. You never know. So.
I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the under on the Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay.
Mike Carey thinks they're still together.
Oh my gosh! Now that's out of bounds. How dare you say that? How dare you say that?
There's a prop bet that Mike Carey will get a
he's
call
such
wrong.
a sweetheart.
I know.
Phil's a good guy too.
I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying
I know.
It's a tough listen with Mike Carey. It's one thing to be on the field doing it, but when TV, when it has to be done now, and you have to make a decision.
Snaps,
well,
too,
and
sometimes.
Pereira is so good.
Well, Mike did Total Access for 8 years before he went to Fox, so he had some broadcast chops.
And that's what Mike Carey needs. He needs reps.
Yeah.
When you're going to do it at a high level like that, and with social media, like they're waiting for you.
Oh gosh.
And Pereira has been really good, but he gives it to you quickly. It's concise, and he has an opinion on it.
Yeah.
Don't say, well, we'll see how it plays out. We're going to you with you're one of us, or we're just like you. We're watching this as a fan. What do you see?
Right, because we're wanting to know what goes on underneath the hood and what's the conversation going on between the refs and New York City about that thing, too. Oh, look, listen, that is not on our board over there. We also have the total number of dabs shown during the broadcast.
How many?
5.5. Now, here's the way I work this one, Dan. Cam does a dab after first downs. Cam does a dab after he scores. There's going to be at least a couple of Cam first downs. I think Cam's going to score once. There will also be, at some point during the game, when Cam is taken down or sacked, and a sarcastic dab by a current unnamed member of the Denver Broncos, that gives you 4.5. All you need is one extra dab. One dab.
What about
from somebody?
What about old dab?
Old dab. What do you mean, like
from the season?
From the season?
B-roll.
No, we've decided live action. Dab.
Live action.
It's got to be live action.
What if the Broncos win?
Yes.
And you get a mock dab from Peyton?
Well, I think that's
gave
double.
You a dab?
Right now a Peyton dab is akin to a Sims Gwyneth Paltrow mention. That is the mother load right now.
Wow.
I don't think Peyton's going to dab. I don't think that'll ever happen, because for various reasons. But let's put it. It is only. But we've decided it's between kickoff and confetti. That's going to happen. So confetti comes down the minute the game's over.
There's no other show in America that will give you this kind of content right now.
People are wondering what's going on at Super Bowl 50.
Yeah.
This is what's happening. We are waiting for this game to start. My pregame show, as you mentioned, is 8.5 hours long. For crying out loud. I mean,
but nobody's asking Peyton Manning about the actual game. It feels like they're asking him about after the game.
Yeah.
Right?
What's happening?
Like, that's the story. He has a chance to win.
Yeah. What are you going to do, win or lose, Peyton?
What's your job after this game when you lose?
I know.
I'll hang up and listen.
And then that's what Media Day was kind of about, was him answering that question over and over and over again. He was asked about the HGH thing, and he gave the same answer, which is like, I welcome everybody who's looking into it. And that was about it. The rest of it was just having some fun. And that's what Media Day kind of is turning into.
Cam had fun with it.
Yeah, everyone did. I mean, Josh Norman, everyone did. And that's the way it's always going to be. After seeing the way that went down last night, where the Super Bowls in past years start when planes land and taxi, and then the players come out with shooting video of them coming off of a tarmac and video that they'll never watch again, like it's like their wedding video. And then there's a press conference, and then eventually there's a media day. Now there's an actual event that will signal the Super Bowl week has begun. Yeah, that's the way it's going to be from now on.
All right, I'll leave you with this.
Yes, sir.
Peyton at 1-3, Peyton at 2-2. Do we look at him differently with Super Bowl?
No question. Because he's
But how
also going to be.
extreme is that?
If he's also 13-13 in his playoff career.
Yes.
So he can be either above 500 or below 500 in his entire playoff career. In the same way now, he is above 500 against Tom Brady in playoff games, as opposed to below 500 against Tom Brady in playoff games. This game,
does he move up the ladder though? Let's say it's Montana.
Absolutely.
And then it's Brady.
You want to talk about
does he pass Elway?
I mean, he's in the conversation, isn't he? I mean, think about it. Multiple rings.
I'd take Elway.
Multiple rings. He's already the first quarterback to take two teams multiple times to a Super Bowl.
And to do it with 4 different coaches.
I mean, think about what he is accomplishing in this final run. And you want to talk about a legacy. I still think he's one of the greatest all-time, win or lose. But I know there's a lot of Peyton haters out there that love to just throw him under the bus. 9 one-and-dones, can't do it in the big game, couldn't even beat Florida when it was at Tennessee. You know, they even go back to that point.
He's one of the greatest. I like how you had all those negative facts ready for Peyton Manning.
Hey, look, I've heard it all, man. I've done this, as you point out, 13 years. Peyton's played, since 98. I've been covering Super Bowl since 03. And so bottom line is he'll have as many as Eli as opposed to not. I mean, this is a pretty big game going down.
The commissioner,
yes, sir,
who's afraid to come on this show, will come on Rich Eisen's show.
No, that's not a way to get him on by saying that, Dan. What are you challenging him to come on the show? Will you ask the commissioner why he won't come on my show during your show? I don't think that's on the list of questions I plan to ask him later on. No. But hey, look,
he must be afraid to come on.
Oh, Dan, stop.
I think he looks at me and says that.
So you've asked and they say no each time?
Fritzy, what's the response?
Yeah, I usually get a quick sorry, it's not available, or I don't think so, or that's not going to be able to happen.
He's been not available for 4 years. How does that happen?
What did you do? Did you ever say something? You ever do something? Did you ever?
I just did the Dan Patrick show in the way that I'm supposed to do it.
You only know one speed.
I only know one speed.
I got it.
That's it.
Well,
I just did my job, Rich.
I don't know if I'll use today's show as that opportunity to try and bridge the gap, but maybe in a quiet moment, I'll broach the subject. I don't know. What more can I possibly say than that?
I appreciate that.
No, you bet, Dan.
What's more likely to happen? Phil Simms says Gwyneth Paltrow or the commissioner.
He's got it now. Come on, Phil. Do it for the kids.
So Rich Eisen coming up top of the hour, the commissioner of the NFL.
Yeah, Terrell Davis, LaDainian Tomlinson, and J.B. Smoove all 3 hours after he strolled around media day for me last night for the show.
I can get Gary Bettman on the show, the NHL commissioner.
There you go.
Yeah, I just
Silver, right? Would David Stern come on, or
David Stern?
How are you and Stern right now? Are you fine, David Stern?
Yeah, we're fine.
You fine?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a little bit of?
There was.
Okay.
There was some
kerfuffle back in the day.
Yeah,
draft night kerfuffle. What happened?
A little bit with that, but he had some fun. He accused me of palaver.
What?
Palaver. He used the word palaver.
What is that? I mean, what is that?
Kind of reckless talk. Inflammatory talk.
See, maybe that's what. I'll ask Roger Goodell if it's a palaver situation.
If you can bring up palaver.
Yeah, a palaver situation. Over, under.
Wait, give me the talk show host who's full of palaver. No, you asked the commissioner that.
Oh, give me the talk show host who's full of palaver.
Yeah.
Got it. Let me write that down.
All right, fair enough. He's Rich. That can be your first question.
Straight out of the
Commissioner,
gate.
welcome.
Straight out of the gate. Welcome.
Yeah. NFL Network, the Game Day Morning Show. Oh, boy. 8.5 hours.
Gosh,
God love you.